What are video games like in North Korea? I've been asking this question over and over for the past few weeks, and after hours of scouring the internet, I finally managed to find old leaked Flash games, but what I found actually might surprise you. You see, a lot of these games are mainly propaganda, but I believe that it represents North Korea, their history, and their regime. North Korea is one of the most poorest and isolated countries in the world, with almost 60% of the country in extreme poverty. Why am I so fascinated by these old games? Well, North Korea does not really produce anything for the outside world, meaning that they have a very small video game industry. These video games are a little peek at what entertainment was like in North Korea in the early 2000s. Let's start off with the very first game I played. It seemed to be a propaganda-themed puzzle game, where the main objective was to place these gems over the Japanese samurais. I was actually at this for such a long time that by the time that I realized this was only the first level, oh my god, bro, I just gave up. I completely. But disclaimer, this is kind of coming from the guy that gets absolutely abolished by his 8-year-old brother at chess.
No, man. It was there. It was here.
Yeah. Oh. This is a really simple education game where you name the different provinces and locations of Joseon, which is the name that refers to Korea in the north. You name places like Seoul, Incheon City, and North Hamgyong Province, which is the most northern part of Korea. I think this is a very interesting game for geography nerds like me. This is actually on the interesting side, as it is politically themed and your main objective is to swap these flies that are meant to look like politicians from Japan, America, and South Korea. It's abundantly clear which countries North Korea considers the enemy. I don't know what actually makes it so engaging. Maybe it's the fact that it has this sweet spot between difficulty and reward, but I think all in all, this was the most enjoyable and interesting game. This game is basically entirely about propaganda about a South Korean politician named Lee Hoi-chang, who served as Prime Minister from 1993 to 1994. They say things like, Lee Hoi-chang is a scary person. If you're next to Lee Hoi-chang, everyone dies. If Lee Hoi-chang becomes president, he will become a worse dictator than previous dictators. The game then suddenly takes a bit of a dark turn and instructs you to tie the knot of the hanging rope around Lee Hoi-chang's neck. Once you successfully do it 3 times, he will then be greeted by an animation of his body slowly turning into a skull. This video game, I believe, is deeply based around propaganda of its enemies, such as South Korea, America, and Japan. But it also shows its deep history with Asian stories, I believe the main character is their interpretation of Sonogong. This is the Korean name for the Monkey King, who was first introduced in Journey to the West, and is still a famous character around East Asia. For example, Goku in Dragon Ball is heavily influenced by Journey to the West. It ends with more propaganda for their regime. Let's vigorously carry out the three great patriotic movements of independent reunification, anti-war peace, and grand national unity under the banner of by our nation itself. Now, in this game, you literally make a track that connects the train to the station with the track pieces you are given. Now, this may seem pretty easy, but for some flipping reason, it's so goddamn hard! Like, I was on this for literally 1 whole hour, and it only managed to get past 3 levels. 3!
Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
This game is called Pride of the Nation Taekwondo, and it's basically a North Korean ripoff of Street Fighter. Now, the reason this game is called Pride of the Nation Taekwondo is because Taekwondo originates from Korea, making it culturally embedded into both countries. I think one of the main flaws is its controls, as you have to use WASD to move, but the movements are very slow, and you have to use the arrow keys to hit people. This game is probably the most boring of them all. I seriously think my little brother can make a better version of this. The next game doesn't actually have a name, but you basically just beat up and torture a former president of South Korea, who they call Mr. Rat Myung-Bak. It's basically beating him to death using your arrow keys. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little peek into North Korean retro video game culture. Make sure to smash that like button, share the video with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe. And if you liked this video, then you might also like Jurassic Park's $10 million video game disaster. And as always, peace out.